have over 1.4 million houses that have been captured in 33 states. And I must say...
Honourable Minister, FMHDS, please, a round of applause for her.
Your table is full, right? Between a government program and an anti-corruption body to support the program in the fight against corruption, which is actually a fight against people. I am indeed honored to be part of this laudable initiative, which aligns with the vision of the federal government, ably led by President Muhammad Buhari, to rid Nigeria of corruption and other forms of sharp practices, which is actually a fight against the people who want to sabotage the efforts of the federal government in its aim of reducing extreme poverty that impede on Nigeria's socio-economic and political development. This renewed partnership between the National Social Investment Office under the now Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Commission, ICPC, as well as other anti-graft and security agencies that have been working in close concert with the NSIO office, underscores commitment, zeal, passion, and interagency cooperation towards achieving desired results in the ongoing campaign against corruption as championed by Mr. President himself. Recall that on assumption of office in 2015, President Muhammad Buhari introduced the National Social Investment Programme in fulfillment of a critical part of the All Progressives Congress campaign manifesto, which endeared majority of Nigerians to the President and our party. The objective of this program is principally to reach the poor and vulnerable Nigerians, following the growing rate of poverty in the country in the years preceding the current democratic dispensation. And consequently, the National Social Investment Office, headed by the Special Advisor of the President to the President, Mrs. Mariam Weiss, was set up in 2016, which has the components of the Social Protection Program, namely the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GIP, N-Power, and the National Cash Transfer Program. I'm pleased to say that all these programs have recorded resounding successes, directly impacting on the lives of over 12 million Nigerians, with several millions of indirect beneficiaries whose living standards have significantly improved through the value of change created by the various social protection initiatives of the Buhari administration. On their individual level, there are over 548,000 graduate and non-graduate beneficiaries under the N-Power, while the Homegrown School Feeding Program has over 9.8 million beneficiaries. Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GIP, being coordinated by the Bank of Industry, has over 2.1 million beneficiaries from trader money, market money, and farmer money. And the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative has almost 400,000 beneficiaries, with over 1.1 million households captured on the National Social Register as I speak to you. It is an established fact that the poverty rate in Nigeria is almost suffocating. It becomes even more worrisome amid reports that by the year 2030, we will have over 120 million people living in extreme poverty in Nigeria. That is quite worrisome. The federal government, under the leadership of President Muhammad Buhari, is concerned about this development and has since come up with various policies and programs aimed at alleviating poverty in our dear country. With the successful outcomes of people-oriented programs and policies, government is already looking at taking 100 million Nigerians out of the poverty line in the next 10 years. This is a policy statement by Mr. President himself. Incidentally, this target set by Mr. President comes at a time when most of the programs and agencies saddled with the mandate of addressing the plight of Nigerians who are way below the poverty line have been moved to a newly created Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. And this is for institutionalization, synergy, and close supervision and coordination. To achieve the task of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years, in line with Mr. President's directive, we must, as a ministry, ensure that all our poverty alleviation strategies and programs remain strengthened and devoid of infractions that could undermine ongoing efforts to empower our poor and vulnerable citizens. This is why this collaborative engagement between the NSIO under the ministry now and ICPC is crucial as it aims to prevent and eliminate third-party corruption in the National Social Investment Program. I would like to especially appreciate some of these partners, the World Bank for their support in the cash transfer and the development of a National Social Register, the African Development Bank Group for their targeted support at the grassroots by deepening work on the National Social Register in the local government areas and specifically targeting the poor and vulnerable in the Northeast states, and their support in tracking of monetary and multidimensional poverty measurement with support from the National Bureau of Statistics. Special thanks also goes to the DFID, the MacArthur and Ford Foundation for their technical and financial support towards the establishment and scale-up of community-based monitoring through third-party monitors, and also CSOs being coordinated by the Action Aid. This very activity must be the very first successful collaboration between government and the civil societies, a model we hope to replicate across the other MDAs under the ministry, or the agencies under the ministry, and we hope to see these partners continue their support in this regard to the National Social Investment Program. Special thanks to Bill and Meladina Gates Foundation, who have supported the NSIO with technical personnel and the establishment of grievance redress management system. The most laudable support and partnership has been with the Department of the State Security Service, the National Orientation Agency, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We must say a big thank you to the heads of all these agencies mentioned above. Today, we kick off a new and we hope another successful partnership with the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. It is my genuine belief that this partnership will further contribute to the success of the continuous implementation of the NSIO programs. I'm particularly excited to see the launch of an inclusive citizens engagement approach to the operations of the 4 programs of the National Social Investment Programs, reason why the toll-free number is being launched today. I want to assure Nigerians that we are listening and will attend to all your feedbacks. Thank you for putting your trust in the federal government led by President Buhari as we embark on this journey. I'm confident that with this initiative, we will meet the President's mandate to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
One of the key features of today's event is the formal official launch of the toll-free line, and so we would like you to come. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the toll-free whistleblower line, ICPC 8000. All ICPC. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
After the fireworks. So I hereby officially launch the toll-free whistleblower hotline 0800 22554272. Thank you.
Yes, on the high table. And also just the front row, the people on the front row here, please. Just the people on the front row.
1,000 unemployed graduates receiving 30,000 naira every month. With 9.5 million children being fed with 70 naira daily in about 67 to about 70,000 primary schools all across the country. With 101,000 women as cooks in every nook and cranny of this country. With almost about 500,000 people taking 5,000 naira conditional cash transfer. With about 2 million and above people that have gotten the trader money of 10,000 naira, and another about 500 to 600,000 people that have gotten the market money of 50,000 to about 100,000 naira. Now, some people would say this is not nearly enough in a country where 80 million people are living in abject poverty. Maybe that is true. Maybe the size of the problem we have is bigger than the solution we are giving. But we are doing something. The responsibility of any responsible government anywhere in the world is to stay out and do and take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. We cannot have eyes and ears in every nook and cranny of this country where we are feeding or where we are sending our children, our volunteers to schools or health centers or agricultural extension workers. What we can do, however, is to make sure that we develop a system where it is transparent and then we cut out the middlemen, where we'll be able to deliver services and quality services directly to the people. That is what the Social Investment has been able to do. Now we are housed under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in its way to being properly institutionalized as a legacy of this administration. And we are collaborating with other agencies of government, ICPC being one of them, and so many other agencies, to make sure that we do this fraud-free. And for the first time, I'm proud to say, I remember in 2014 or 2013, there was 1,000 slot of immigration jobs, and about 16 people died in National Stadium looking for 1,000 slots of an immigration job. N-Power alone employed 500,000 people without a single incident of fraud or death or injury. Give us a round of applause. But now we are taking it to the next level. We are collaborating with ICPC, DSS, you name it, to make sure that this is fraud-free. Welcome to this media launch, and I'm sure the special advisor and so many of the speakers in the technical sessions will give a breakdown of how this is going to be done before the minister will go ahead and do so. Welcome. Thank you so much, and let's all put our hands on deck to make sure that this is a tremendous success. Thank you so much.
I urge you more to do better, and salute the courage of the ICPC partner with you on this. Thank you very much.
I think that assumption in the context of Nigeria over the years have been defeated by irresponsibility, wickedness, and impunity. When some people say that they had never seen 5,000 naira before in one lump sum or held one, everyone in this room will say, it is not possible. And in that context, I take objection to Lanre Surratt describing himself as poor. Very strong and serious objection. But this is exactly what the SIP program is set out to do. In ICPC, when this board resumed, we found out that things were so endemically bad that you needed a somewhat different approach to dealing with the issues. You need to focus on the big ticket issues, things that would have a macro impact and effect, rather than on the one-on-one single issues at which you are able to give relief only to one person, your petitioner or complainant. If you strategically engage and partner with other people in the other arms of government, the legislature, other arms, the other agencies in the executive and the judiciary, one single action can have a multiplier effect on many Nigerians. Because the honest truth is that we're far behind time. And if they say that Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, it's not a salutation. It's nothing to be proud of. So when programs like the NSIO are institutionalized or introduced, you would assume that everyone that has something to do with this would have a consciousness about the responsibility with which it should be approached. The same thing, in my view, applies to zonal intervention projects, otherwise called constituency projects. So we are extremely delighted to have this partnership with the NSIO and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs under the leadership of the Minister. We found in some of the cases that we're investigating that have been reported to us that some people, some criminals, this 5,000 naira, some criminals have decided to take part of it away from the beneficiaries. They've pretended to help them open accounts, giving themselves a first commission, and giving the balance to the people. This 70 naira, 1 meal a day, some rascals have decided to diminish the opportunity. Some fellows call themselves agents and stand in between the benefit and the people. They have all become prayer points, by the way. Prayer points of the poor, prayer points of the government that is making an effort to do something about it. Sometimes when I read some of the kinds of things that I read about what is going on, I say it's not possible. Why would someone want to take part of 5,000 naira that has been given to a poor person? We've had situations where people claim to be agents, collude with the banks, and choose to freeze the accounts that have been opened by government just to ensure that these beneficiaries get the money directly. And in collusion with the bank, they cream off on the money. Well, the only thing I have to say is that they will be our guests. We will do what we have to do to stop this, working with other agencies like the DSS, the police, and all that. Because the truth of the matter is that the only way we can diminish this specter of poverty and this negative branding, for those of us who travel a lot, it's not a thing of pride. If you arrive somewhere in a very nice suit and your passport is showing that you are coming from the quote and unquote the poverty capital of the world, and they will look at you and say, they say Nigerians are poor, but your face is shining. You won't be able to convince them that it is Vaseline. So I think that we have a responsibility, and in partnering with the NSIO, and we're extremely delighted that they digitized the process, as a jury or somebody said earlier on. We've had experiences in the past where you want to engage 1,000 people, it's a nightmare. But thousands have been engaged, nobody has died. You take your chance, log on to the portal, make your application, you do not have to be known. And because Marian and I, even before I got into ICPC, have been somewhat involved in this process from the beginning. She and I were also involved in the negotiation of the return of the Abuja loot. So I have very deep insights into this entire NSIO project, and I've reflected it in my presentations all over the world in the past 4 years. Because there are more cynics than apostles of faith who just believe that nothing good can come out of Nazareth. But well, I have news for you. Something good is coming out of Nazareth, and it is the NSIO. We intend, as they say, prevention is better than cure. We intend to work with the NSIO to focus on the process itself. As some of us here may know, ICPC's mandate is enforcement, prevention, and also public education. So we are going to be strategic in working with them in the shadows, blending with the community to watch what is going on, whether the default is coming from even the NSIO side, whether the rascals have friends on the NSIO side. We will be happy to evaluate all that, not only for enforcement purposes, but also for strengthening the process to diminish corruption in this area. We find out that sin thrives in secrecy. And because people are largely ignorant of the intentions of government and what government has planned to do, and because, as I said, these wicked elements in our midst infiltrate the process and try to undermine it. So the people are very cynical about government, and they find government very distant from them. One of the things that we're doing at ICPC with regard to some of our other projects is organizing massive campaigns to break down and demystify the things that people do not understand. And in this regard, we're working with civil society. So, for example, the zonal intervention projects or the constituency projects, many communities do not even know that this is a project for them sponsored by government. They think that the sponsor is some lawmaker or some other government person who is doing them a favor, and that they are obliged to accept what is delivered. We intend to change that narrative. We take the message to the people and say, this is your money, you own it. This is yours. Nobody is doing you a favor. And to the extent that you are paying tax, you're obliged to ask questions. But it is not easy to break down that message. You need to deliver it in the language that they will understand, in visuals, communicate it. And we have seen from the first phase of the constituency project thing that we've done, that communities appreciate and radically and earnestly need some of those projects. So working together with other agencies of government is the only way we can make any impact whatsoever. And I look forward to more collaborations of this nature with other critical agencies of government so that we can together diminish poverty in our own community and help Nigeria to move towards the positive side of meeting the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you very much for being a part of this program.
Thank you very much, sir.
As the last one, we exported, intimidated, and defrauded, basically because they're getting small stipends from the federal. When this program started, the president charged us with the responsibility of reaching Nigerians wherever they may be, whatever political affiliation they may be, whatever culture, whatever religion. He said he's the president of Nigeria now. And this is what we have striven to attain, to see that all Nigerians are interested by this, irrespective of whether you have connections in Abuja or not. You are entitled as a Nigerian citizen to be impacted. Generally, there were four broad programs that we set out to work on. The NSIO program, which currently has 549,500 youth, both graduates and non-graduates, working in different categories, being trained in skill centers, taking ownership of their lives. We also have the school feeding program, which aims at bringing in a lot of out-of-school children. At the last count, we have been able to bring in over 3 million children around the schools, the public primary schools in Nigeria. About 31% have been brought in to primary schools. We're also boosting nutrition, so we're very careful about the menu. We use, very inclusively, we use the IMTA, the Federal Ministry of Health, the State Ministries of Health, and the State Ministries of Agriculture to determine the menu. And we also pay the full 70 naira per meal. They all have to open accounts, which is also ramping up on financial inclusion. We also ensure that we've been trying to get the smallholder farmers to meet the quotas at the point where